Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states or situations.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Sponsored by Secure Cash, LLC. Talking the news with Noah Layden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noah.
On 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me, 5 o'clock. Good morning. It is Wednesday, December 24th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Sunshine today. The high 44. Tonight and overnight, partly cloudy, low 32. And then Christmas Day, morning clouds, afternoon sunshine, high 45. If you're walking out the door with us right now, it's 37 and clear in Rye up in Westchester County, 36 and clear in Edison over in New Jersey, and it's 35 and clear right outside our Midtown studios.
This is the Top 5 at 5.
Who's the jerk who wrecked a nativity scene in the Hudson Valley? Cops look for the cause of a deadly senior home fire in Bayonne. A kid in Brooklyn won't likely throw a snowball at a car ever again. Thousands jam one Brooklyn neighborhood to celebrate Christmas. And a bodega owner on Staten Island goes viral for being so generous. All right, let's get into it at 5:01. Still trying to figure out what the cause was of a deadly fire at a senior home in Bayonne yesterday. A complex for seniors. One resident dead, a number injured. Here's resident Robert Luceno describes the fire that was in this 11-story high-rise right there on Avenue A in Bayonne.
It's unbelievable because, like I said, it was bad. It was a bad scene.
Yeah, he described seeing another resident being given CPR. EMTs took a lot of people out of this building. Here's more of a description of what took place yesterday.
There was so much smoke. It was unbelievable in the hallways. Some people have their ceilings leaking below them.
Yeah, so no word just yet what started this fire. Hudson County prosecutors not telling us much.
They were giving a woman the CPR on a stretcher. And there was many ambulances here. They took a lot of people off.
There were a lot of heroes, by the way, as well. So there was one dead, 3 residents were injured, 8 police officers were hospitalized for smoke inhalation. They just raced into the building to save these seniors. Hudson County Prosecutor's Office not telling us what started the fire. I don't think they know. Fire investigators not telling us either, but they do say is no foul play is suspected. It looks like New Jersey's going to follow New York's example when it comes to banning cell phone use in schools next year.
New Jersey state lawmakers passed legislation this week that requires the state Department of Education to come up with guidelines restricting student use of internet-enabled devices in classrooms during the school day. This would be for all grades, K through 12. Governor Murphy has previously expressed support for this legislation, expected to sign it before he leaves office. Educational experts say phones have become a major distraction and that social media in particular is causing harm in learning environments. James Flippin for 77 WABC News.
Maybe you have a friend who's told you how miserable they are about the fact that they'll have to return physically to the office after the new year. A lot of people are already back at the office 4 or 5 days a week. Maybe they get one day at home. But after January 1, you'll see that Midtown's even more crowded because more people are being told they have to go back to work. And what we're seeing is some post-pandemic ridership records for commuter train lines that connect New York City and the suburbs.
The MTA says both the Long Island Railroad and Metro North lines set post-pandemic records last week. The transit agency says Metro North set weekly and midweek records and saw the train's strongest ridership weekend since 2019. The LIRR set post-pandemic records on Saturday the 13th and Sunday the 21st, and the MTA notes the two lines handled all that foot traffic with 97% on-time performance. Andrew Whitman, NBC News Radio, New York.
5:04, let's go over to Brooklyn. Remember when you threw snowballs at cars when you were a kid? Sometimes those cars would stop. A guy would get out, maybe threaten you, get back into the car and drive away. It went a little further in Brooklyn. A 12-year-old boy scared for his life after a man violently confronted him on a Brooklyn street. This took place last week. We're finding out about it now because the police can't find this individual. The boy's name is Mohammed, and he tells PIX 11 News that he was walking home from school on Ditmas Avenue near Ocean Parkway when he did throw a snowball at a car, and the man got out of the car and got very violent with him.
He came up to me, pushed me, do that shit again, I'll beat you. So I was like, what happened? I was in front of them, right? This man came up to me. I was like, he was like close to my face. I was like, can you get out of my face? And then he was like, what? I'll kill you guys if you do that. I'm like, what did I do?
Yes, so he took it further. He picked the boy up and threw him onto the windshield of his car. NYPD sources say the boy and his friends were playing in the area following a snowfall. Investigators believe the boys tossed the snowball that struck the man's silver minivan as he drove past, and this guy wasn't going to just let that lie. He came out and attacked this 12-year-old.
He bashed my head on the rear window, and then he picked me up and threw me on the floor.
Yeah, sometimes it's just easier to drive away, but not everybody does that. Muhammad taken to the local emergency room for x-rays. Thankfully not seriously injured, but the experience has left him shaken.
They did x-rays, but nothing broke. If your head keeps on hurting, you can come back.
The boy's mother, who asked that their identities be concealed for their safety, says only a crazy adult would assault a child over something so petty like a snowball. I have to agree with her. Her son is now afraid to leave the house alone. Police so far have been unable to find this silver car or the individual who was driving it, but they want to find him badly. 5:06. We're going on to the air. Actually, I guess we were on the air already yesterday when there was this scaffolding accident in East Harlem. A dump truck lost control of the wheel, and this was near 101st Street on the east side yesterday. And they hit a car that then slammed into scaffolding. This was about 6:30 a.m., and the scaffolding came down on a woman who was walking underneath it. She was killed. Everybody else is okay. Here's a witness who spoke to Fox 5.
I'm just getting ready. All I hear is a truck swerving by, and then boom, giant truck hits my building. It hit about 4 cars, and it couldn't be any worse.
The woman was declared dead at the scene. The truck driver, a passenger, taken to the hospital. No charges have been filed. Neighbors, they know the victim. They say she's a longtime resident.
I'm blown away. I can't really fathom how it happened. We live on one of the balconies right across the street. So when we looked out this morning, we were trying to make sense of how the truck would even get in the position it got into.
Yeah, so surveillance video shows this garbage truck slamming into a vehicle that was double parked, striking other vehicles, crashing into the scaffolding, and then you see that scaffolding coming down. The neighbors say this woman, they didn't name her, and we're not going to, but they say she was a longtime resident who often would go to the fire hydrant right in the neighborhood, fill the bucket with water, and then water the flowers in the neighborhood.
You would see her every morning go to the hydrant with her little bucket, fill it up. She could barely pick it up, and she was still, making the efforts of, taking care of the neighborhood.
Yeah, just an awful story. I will point out the truck driver, the sanitation truck driver, a passenger in that truck, they did stay at the scene so far. No charges have been filed. In a moment, we'll tell you about the new fire commissioner who will take the oath of office after January 1st. But first, 5:07, first check of traffic traffic and transit on this early Wednesday morning. Joe Nolan's got the day off, so you have me doing a little bit of traffic, and we'll talk out in Queens on the Cross Island Parkway. An accident has been cleared. This is southbound approaching Northern Boulevard right at exit 31. So the accident's cleared, but you have these residual delays. They will continue for a little while this morning, but that's the worst of it this morning. Now, alternate side of the street parking rules, they are in effect today. People sometimes get fooled thinking they are not in effect for Christmas Eve. They are. So you gotta move the car today at some point. Bridges and tunnels, everything is A-OK. I'm expecting the ride in, no matter where you go, will be relatively easy. Most people have the day off. So George Washington Bridge, upper level, lower level, they're A-OK. Lincoln inbound, outbound, A-OK. Same for the Holland, no delays there at this early hour. Let's see how the rails are doing. On New Jersey Transit, you do have some delays on the Maine, Bergen County, and Northeast Corridor lines. On the LIRR, everything is on or close to schedule, though. No, we're just getting this in now. There are some delays on the Port Jefferson branch. And Metro North, they do have some special schedules because it is Christmas Eve. More trains will be leaving earlier in the day than they normally do. And down below on the subways, everything right now just great. Noam Layden in the 77 WABC traffic desk. Now it's Noam Layden in the WABC news desk. New York City going to have a new fire commissioner after January 1.
New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani is announcing a new fire commissioner for his administration that takes over at the start of the new year. Lillian Bonsignor is a retired EMS chief and will be the second female fire commissioner behind Laura Kavanaugh.
Her record speaks for itself. 31 years of service, leadership on the front lines of 9/11 and the COVID pandemic.
And now you have a commissioner that could start at IV.
Meantime, First Deputy Commissioner Mark Guerrera will be sworn in as acting fire commissioner with the departure of Robert Tucker. I'm Lisa Ritchie, 77 WABC News.
WABC News Time 5:10. A Delaware state trooper and a gunman dead after a shooting at a DMV facility in Wilmington yesterday afternoon. State police say this gunman entered the facility and then shot a trooper who was working at the reception desk.
After being shot, the trooper pushed the DMV employee out of harm's way, and the suspect shot the trooper again.
Law enforcement from several agencies responding before a Newcastle County police officer shot the gunman. Both the trooper and the gunman taken to the hospital where they were both pronounced dead.
Multiple police agencies responded to the DMV, and a Newcastle County police officer confronted the suspect and shot him.
Delaware State Police Superintendent William Crotty says the fallen trooper exemplified bravery.
His last actions were that of a hero who saved lives today while sacrificing his own.
And Delaware Governor Matt Meyer says the trooper was a victim of just senseless violence.
What happened today was an act of pure evil.
Yeah, another trooper and a woman suffered a minor non-gunshot injury. Delaware State Police say the gunman taken down. Now, they haven't released a whole lot of details on the gunman himself, and no real motive has been detailed either. 5:12 out to Pennsylvania, where 3 are dead, 20 injured after an explosion and a fire at a Philadelphia area nursing home yesterday. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro giving an update on the rescue efforts that took place yesterday.
The explosion was really quite catastrophic. We know that at this time there are at least 2 fatalities. We know that there are some number of individuals still missing.
This blast happened, it was about 2:15 at the Silver Lake Nursing Home. That's in Bristol. Bristol is about 25 miles northeast of Philadelphia. Part of the building collapsed. There are reports of several people that were unaccounted for.
Firefighters rushed to this scene in order to contain the explosion, in order to put out the fire, and most importantly, in order to rescue people.
And they did. Governor Shapiro praising the efforts of those involved.
In the immediate moments after the explosion, you saw what real heroism is all about.
Yeah, you saw these people racing into that building. The explosion believed to have been caused by a gas leak. 5:13, Justice Department pushing back against mentions of President Trump in the latest batch of Epstein files. Correspondent Alice Barr reports former President Bill Clinton also criticizing what his spokesman calls is a selective release of photos so far.
President Trump said he didn't like the photos of former President Clinton being posted, arguing that many people are appearing in images that never did anything wrong tied to Epstein. The president himself has appeared in some photos, including one that was removed and then reposted.
Justice Department has made 11,000 more files available. That was yesterday, including court records, emails, videos, news clippings. In a post on X, it said some of these documents contain untrue and sensationalist claims made against President Trump that were submitted to the FBI right before the 2020 election. That coming from the White House.
The Senate's top Democrat bringing up a resolution for legal action against the DOJ for what he called its, quote, blatant disregard of the law in its refusal to release the complete Epstein files and accusing the Trump administration of hiding the truth.
Now, the DOJ was required to release all documents by December 19th under the Epstein Files Transparency Act, but officials say they're being released in batches due just to the high volume and the need to redact information to protect victims. 5:14, President Trump says new Trump-class U.S. battleships will be the world's fastest, largest, and most lethal with nuclear capabilities. Correspondent Mitch McCann reports that some analysts, though, are raising questions about how this will all be accomplished.
Meanwhile, a former Navy captain told CNN, "We no longer have the shipbuilding and maritime industrial infrastructure to do this quickly."
The president says there will be 2 ships built first, followed by another 8, and then eventually 25 new battleships.
One retired former Rear Admiral, Mark Montgomery, told the New York Times that the U.S. needs a fleet of minimally manned or unmanned ships with large weapons to combat Chinese threats at sea. He added these battleships would not achieve those goals.
Now, the Pentagon says the Navy will develop the design for the battleships. No deadline, no dateline of when these ships will be built has been given. 5:15, it is time for sports. Justin Ellick is enjoying a little R&R. So here's Rhonda Moss with the Sports Minute.
Let's start in the NBA. Cooper Flagg, 33 points, 9 boards, 9 dimes to help the Mavericks clip the Nuggets 131-130. Spurs crush the Thunder 130-110 to win their 7th straight. Clippers crush the Rockets by 20. Kevin Durant led Houston with 22, says they will learn from losses like this.
These losses are going to make us better. They're going to help us grow character, help us continue to figure out what we need to do to be effective as a group. So through the midst of it all, just keep grinding and keep figuring it out.
Dillon Brooks dropped in 25 to help the Suns knock off the Lakers 132-108. Lakers guard Luka Doncic did not play due to a calf injury. Niners tight end George Kittle dealing with an ankle sprain he suffered in the win over the Colts Monday night. Vikings quarterback J.J. McCarthy will not play against the Lions on Christmas Day due to a hairline fracture in his throwing hand. That's sports. I'm Rhonda Moss.
Well, that's not the end of sports. The Knicks lost to the Timberwolves last night, 115-104 on the road in Minneapolis. Karl Anthony Towns, he led all scores, 40 points last night. Jalen Brunson did not play. He's nursing an ankle injury. Knicks back at it at the Garden tomorrow for a Christmas Day game against the Cavaliers. The Nets, boy, they're playing good basketball all of a sudden. They took down the 76ers 114-106 in Philly last night. Michael Porter, he had 28. Brooklyn has won 3 of its last 4 games. They'll visit Minnesota on Saturday. The Rangers, they just crushed the Capitals on the road in D.C. 7-3. Vincent Trocheck scored a pair of goals. The Blue Shirts have won 3 of 4. They're going to visit the Islanders out in Elmont on Saturday night. Speaking of the Islanders, they edged the Devils 2-1 on Long Island last night. New Jersey, which has dropped back-to-back games, will host Washington on Saturday night. And the Jets shutting down their former starting quarterback Justin Fields, placed on injured reserve yesterday. He's dealing with knee soreness. Undrafted rookie Brady Cook will finish the season for Gang Green. All right, 5:17. Let's do some traffic and transit on the 7s. Let's start in Seabright out in Monmouth County in New Jersey. We're seeing a broken water main that's causing some problems. This is Route 36, Ocean Avenue, right southbound at Highlands Bridge before Beachway. That'll cause you some problems this morning. Otherwise, It should be easy this morning. Maybe I'm jinxing things. Let's look at the bridges and the tunnels. Most people have the day off. GWB inbound, outbound doing just fine. Lincoln, Holland, no problems there. There are some issues on the rails for New Jersey Transit. The Main, Bergen County, and Northeast Corridor do have some delays this morning. On the LIE, or rather the LIRR, are delays on the Port Jefferson branch. On Metro North, you do have special schedule for the Christmas Eve and for the holiday. If you want to come into work and get home early, you'll be able to do that today. And on the subways, there's no scheduled service at this hour on the Z and the S line. Noam Layden in the 77 WABC Sports and Traffic Desk. 5:18 now. Noam Layden in the 77 WABC News Desk. 5 dead after a small Mexican Navy plane crashed into the waters near Galveston, Texas. Now, this happened on Monday, but we're just getting the details now. Professional yacht captain Sky Decker, he lives close to the crash site. He raced to the scene to find a badly injured woman trapped beneath the debris.
Hey, she's still alive in here! Hey, she's alive!
Yeah, that's what it sounded like. Making the scene even more tragic is the plane was carrying a burn patient who was among those who was killed on Monday.
Just hang on a minute. Hey, somebody get in here and help me pull this stuff out of the way.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like. 2 people survived the crash. No word on why the plane went down. Multiple agencies, including Texas police investigating. Cell phone video captured that rescue operation, and that's what you heard there. 5:19. Ukrainian President Zelensky acknowledging that American security guarantees are a key point of disagreement still. Correspondent Molly Hunter reports the remark comes as Russia launched new drone attacks against Ukraine yesterday.
The Ukrainian military says Russia fired more than 630 drones, 3 dozen missiles overnight. The attack lasted into the daylight hours of this morning. At least 3 people were killed, including a 4-year-old child, according to Ukrainian officials.
Now, in a post on X, Zelensky citing key security guarantees as the fundamental difference in arrangements, noting that any guarantees will need to be approved by Congress and will be binding.
Adding the wide-scale attack struck civilian homes and the power grid in 13 different regions of Ukraine. But this is a hallmark of Russian attacks at this time of year, targeting critical infrastructure during those bitter, freezing winter days in Ukraine. Now, this comes after a high-ranking Russian general was killed in a car bomb in Moscow yesterday.
Yeah, there's a little bit of tit for tat going on there. Zelensky reacting to that drone attack, saying it reveals the Russian president's priorities.
He said a strike before Christmas when people want to be with their families at home in safety. A strike, in fact, in the midst of negotiations that are being conducted to end this war. He says Putin cannot accept the fact that we must stop the killing.
Meantime, a top aide to Russian President Vladimir Putin contradicting U.S. claims of productive meetings in Miami over the weekend. According to the Kremlin state news agency, the aide says most of the peace proposals offered were put forward by Ukraine and Europe and would not suit Russia. They say no, they're not any closer to a deal than they were before the weekend began. WABC News Time 5:21. Let's go out to California, where a missing 9-year-old girl from Southern California has been found dead.
Law enforcement sources say the body of Melody Buzzard was found in Utah early this month. Her mother, Ashley Buzzard, was arrested at her home in Santa Barbara County this morning. The sources say law enforcement had been waiting for DNA tests to verify the identity of the remains before making the arrest. Melody Buzzard was reported missing in October after traveling with her mother. Utah was one of the states they passed through. The sources say it appears the girl was likely dead for months before anyone knew she was missing. I'm Daniel Martindale.
Boy, some people who live in these neighborhoods where the wildfires broke out earlier this year in Southern California, they just can't get a break. Like Palisades, Sunset, Hearst, fire burn scars. They have all these neighborhoods, a lot of them are under evacuation, even places where people have started to rebuild because there's this huge storm that began yesterday. It's going to last for the next couple days. Some Southern California residents facing the fact that they have to evacuate right before Christmas. Los Angeles County Sheriff Robert Luna says safety's number one even during the holiday.
The last thing we want to do is ruin anybody's Christmas plans, but we have an obligation as a county family to wave the flag and say there's a threat, a real threat out there.
You see, here the problem is with all this burn scars, these rains turned into rivers, potentially kill people. The National Weather Service says a major rainstorm storm bringing extreme risk of dangerous mud and debris flows that are expected to begin today into tomorrow.
If you're given an order, the bottom line is that means there's an immediate danger to you or your family. You should leave immediately. If there's a warning, it's a potential danger. You should be prepared. You should be prepared now.
And of course, if you don't leave, then what happens is you put first responders at risk who then have to go in and save you.
It also may be hard for first responders to access the roads. Attempting to do so places our first responders in unnecessary danger.
Yeah, that should be a reason alone to leave. Through Saturday night, 3 to 6 inches of rain could fall in the valleys and along the coast. The foothills and the mountains in this area, they could see up to a foot of rain with rainfall rates and sometimes at least an inch per hour. And that's why they're telling people in these certain neighborhoods to evacuate if they haven't, do so ASAP. 523. Are you one of the millions hitting the road for the Christmas holiday, for New Year's? People who have already left said that, there are moments where it hasn't been so great.
Traffic was starting to get heavy, so I would plan to leave a little bit earlier than usual, and also going through TSA is always kind of a choke point.
Yeah, okay, if you've already left, or if you're leaving this morning, you're doing just fine. I mean, that's the good part. AAA says 122 million expected to travel during the holidays. This woman, she's down in Orlando.
I came from Orlando. It wasn't too bad there. Definitely more crowds here in New York, though.
Oh, okay, so she's here in New York now. She said the airports weren't terrible.
I would just say get here super early. Our lines weren't too bad so far, but as we stand here, I can see a lot of people are starting to pile in.
Yeah, all right, it's what is expected this time of year. 524, let's go down to Miami, where a Florida teenager, Derek Rosa, was in court yesterday, pre-trial motions in his first-degree murder trial. Rosa is being tried as an adult in the fatal stabbing of his own mother when he was 13 years old. The judge in this case denying a motion to disqualify him from presiding over this trial.
This was received yesterday, shortly after noon, a motion to disqualify the trial judge. That motion will be denied. Please file stamp this order denying the motion.
Rosa allegedly stabbed his mother 40 times while she was sleeping in her bedroom next to her newborn baby, who was not harmed.
They're making comments about exactly the conclusion of this case, which to them at that early on stage was that Derek Rosa killed his mother. That was the conclusion before that crime scene had even been released.
That's Rosa's lawyer in court yesterday. The judge, Judge Hirsch, hearing motions from Derek Rosa's attorney, about 800 photos that were taken of the murder scene.
You state at least 60 could be post-mortem photographs. When we come to that point in the trial, at some break prior to that point, so that we don't waste the time of the jury, the state will present the ones that they've selected for presentation to the jury.
But doesn't help Rosa, as the state does have a 911 recording they say he made after the stabbing, where he confesses to murdering his mother. 526, fraudulent job applications from people in North Korea have spiked 27% this year. William Denslow, correspondent, reports that according to Amazon's chief security officer, things getting worse.
He said they use identity theft, including hacked LinkedIn accounts, to try to trick recruiters into giving them work. They do that by remotely controlling laptops situated in the US to try to mask their overseas presence.
Yeah, so in this LinkedIn post, Stephen Schmidt says Amazon has blocked 1,800 applications from North Korean operatives. He says the applicant's objective is typically to get hired, and then they funnel wages back to the North Korean regime. That money apparently is going to weapons programs.
An Arizona woman was sentenced to over 8 years in prison for running such a laptop farm earlier this year in a scheme that helped her and Pyongyang launder $17 million.
It is interesting to see how sophisticated these North Koreans can be.
Amazon's chief security officer warned North Korean nationals are increasingly trying to get remote IT jobs, particularly at US companies, with his team spotting a 27% increase in fraudulent applications from North Korean workers compared to last year.
Yeah, wild what people can do from overseas. All right, 527, traffic, transit on the 7s on this Wednesday morning. Let's start out in Seabright, where we have this broken water main that is causing a slowdown. This is Route 36, right at Ocean Avenue, southbound between Highlands Bridge, right before Beach Way. The broken water main looks like it's from the overnight, but you'll have a little bit of a slowdown there. But you're probably likely one of the few people out on the roadway at this early hour, as most people have the day off. Bridges and tunnels, George Washington Bridge, upper, lower, A-OK. Lincoln Holland, no problems there. On the rails, we do have some delays on New Jersey Transit on the Maine, Bergen County, and Northeast Corridor lines. On the LIRR, there are some cancellations this morning on the Port Jefferson branch. Everything else there is on or close. Metro North, you do have some special schedules today. If you're coming in to go to work and want to leave early for Christmas Eve, you'll be able to do so, as they'll add some more trains in the early afternoon. And down on the subways, there is no scheduled service at this hour on the Z and the S line. WABC News Time, 5:28. There are a lot of last-minute shoppers buying presents. A lot of you bought presents online because you just don't like having to elbow people at the mall or the store. But what's been happening, of course, as it does every time this year, is there's just been a bunch of porch pirates out there who are grabbing the packages before you can.
They're actually trolling the delivery vehicles, trying to, pick up on the packages that aren't monitored so closely, aren't picked up right away.
Yeah, you've seen this before. There's a video, I've seen this, where these people will follow an Amazon truck, a UPS truck, and watch them deliver. When the truck pulls away, they'll grab as many packages as they can. Well, that's, you just heard from was Jason Meza with the Better Business Bureau. He says reports of porch pirates are way up this year. The good news is that home security cameras have become widespread, so they've caught some of these people on camera. Sometimes it's hard to catch them once you catch them on camera, though.
This started in late October as people were going to shop online earlier.
Yeah, so again, these porch pirates have gotten sophisticated.
The reports are coming in a little bit sharper than every year we see them, but for this particular time period, they've really taken a rise.
Yeah, so they're doing everything they can to track these people down, not always so successful. 5:29, there's now video of the car crash.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Sponsored by Secure Cash, LLC. Talking the news with Noam Laden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noam.
On 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Wednesday, December 24th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Sunshine today, high 44. Tonight and overnight, partly cloudy, low 32. And then Christmas Day looks like this. Morning clouds, afternoon sunshine, high 45. If you're walking out the door with us right now, so happy you are. It's 37 and clear in Rye up in Westchester County. 36 and clear in Edison over in New Jersey. And it's 37 and clear right outside our Midtown studios. 5:37 now. Traffic, transit on the 7s. Joe Nolan's got the morning off, so you got me. We'll start in Queens. We're just getting news in of an accident that's blocking one lane on the LIE eastbound. This is at exit 23, which is Main Street. That'll cause you a little bit of slowdown this morning. Otherwise, it seems to be broken water mains as the story of the morning. In Seabright on Route 36 Ocean Avenue, this is southbound between Highlands Bridge and Beachway. You have a broken water main there that is causing some issues. West Caldwell, it's also a broken water main on Bloomfield Avenue that's slowing down traffic both eastbound and westbound between Fairfield Avenue and Passaic Avenue. But that's the worst of it this morning. If you're coming in, bridges and tunnels, no problems at all. You should be able to sail right through George Washington Bridge, both the upper and lower levels. Lincoln and Holland tunnels, no problems there. If you're coming in on New Jersey Transit, there are some delays on the Maine, Bergen County, and Northeast Corridor lines if you're taking a train in. On the LIRR, everything is on or close to schedule. Metro North does have a special holiday scheduled today. If you're coming into work and want to leave early for Christmas Eve, you'll be able to do so. There'll be some extra trains. And on the subways, there is no scheduled service at this hour on the Z and the S line. In the WABC traffic desk, I'm Noam Laden. 5:38, Noam Laden News Dude. An arrest been made after a Home Alone type break-in on Long Island yesterday afternoon, where a preteen kid found himself at home with somebody trying to break in.
The 12-year-old was inside the home on Eagle Avenue in Medford when he heard glass breaking and someone moving around in the kitchen. The boy jumped out his bedroom window, saw the man, ran into the yard, and called Nassau police. They found Christian Garcia in the kitchen and arrested him. The 53-year-old homeless man now has a Christmas Eve arraignment date on burglary charges. Andrew Whitman, NBC News Radio, New York.
Let's go out to Crown Heights, where police searching for a man accused of firing a gun inside a restaurant there after becoming upset because his food order, he said, was taking too long. Cops say the incident happened at the Essence Bar and Grill. That's right there on Atlantic Avenue. The bartender working that night, speaking to News 12, says the restaurant was packed. She says the man and woman were sitting at the bar, and she could see that they were growing frustrated over how long their food was taking. She says they wanted their money refunded.
We were packed. It was a really busy night. I told her order was going to take 10 to 15 minutes standard for anywhere, honestly, let alone a packed restaurant bar.
All right, so security, he got angry. Security, I guess, was dealing with him, thinking that maybe they need to kick him out. So he leaves the bar of this man and woman couple, and then he comes back in, and then he fires a gun in the restaurant, like at the ceiling.
Security saw, he pulled the weapon out, he, asked him to leave, and then he went over here, and then he went out, and then came back in and fired a shot.
Yeah, thank God he did not hurt anybody, though you can see where the bullet hit in the ceiling of this restaurant. He drove off, they haven't found him, in a Jeep Wrangler on Atlantic Avenue. The restaurant forced to close for a number of hours because police had to collect evidence.
If you want to get the $100 on the Alanak t-shirt, you have to have a 98.
Okay, I don't know what they're talking about there, but the suspect described as a man with facial hair. He was last seen wearing a red baseball cap. Police say they do have pretty good photo images of him, so they think it's just a matter of time until they catch up with him. 5:40, let's go over to New Jersey, where a thief or thieves broke into a church before Christmas, tore apart some rooms, stealing thousands of dollars that were collected for the needy. South Brunswick police say that St. Silica Roman Catholic Church was ransacked in what was likely a desperate act for quick money around the holidays. This church is right there on Kingston Lane in Monmouth Junction. Here's police describing what they found when they walked into this church.
They go through the ceiling tiles and into the storage room. It was pried open with a pry tool, and they made entry, and then they gathered, whatever collections were left in there.
Police say the thief or thieves likely went through an open door sometime after Mass on Sunday or early Monday. The church doesn't have security cameras, so that's not helping a whole lot.
They stole thousands in cash. They ransacked multiple rooms in the church looking for it. And eventually when they came to the room where it was, they broke into a closet where it was and into a safe, and they took the proceeds.
Yeah, so now the church has to make repairs. They've downed money. And of course, because it is a church, I have no doubt these parishioners who are there would tell you if the person who was involved had come to them and asked them for help, they probably would have given him help and he wouldn't have had to break in. But parishioners hoping whoever stole that money just returns it.
I kindly ask whoever did something like this, he should go back to his conscience and come back and talk to the priest. If he need help, he should not do something like this, especially on this beautiful holiday.
Of course. I don't know how often that happens, that someone then turns around and returns the money and asks for help. But if he had asked for help, of all places to get it, you would think it would be at a church. 5:42, leaders in Paterson, New Jersey, pushing back against Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard's remarks that she made over the weekend that suggest Paterson is working to impose Islamic law. During a speech at the Turning Point USA America event in Phoenix, Gabbard claimed that groups like the Council on American Islamic Relations, better known as CAIR, issued a call to action to implement Sharia law in the U.S. Now, CAIR says that's absolutely not true. The mayor, here's what she sounded like. She'll probably play this clip from the weekend.
They are a threat to our security and our safety. Paterson, New Jersey is proud to call themselves the first Muslim city. They are working to implement in their own governments these Islamic principles.
Now, Patterson Mayor Andre Saya says it's just nonsense. He rejected Gabbard's claim, publicly invited her, though, to visit the city. And he says when she does visit the city, she'll see for herself and then she can apologize.
Patterson welcomes everyone. And Patterson has never failed a friend. And Tulsi Gabbard needs to know Patterson is a better place because Muslims call our city home.
Now, the executive director of CARE New Jersey's chapter says the comments are inaccurate and place Muslims in that community at risk.
Her remarks have placed the community here in Patterson, the mosques here in Patterson, in the crosshairs, putting them in direct harm's way.
Now, Gabbard's people were told about what they said in Patterson and whether she would come and apologize, and all they did was point reporters to the speech that she made over the weekend that sparked the controversy. 5:44, police searching for the cruel driver who threw 3 puppies out of a moving SUV in New Jersey. Eyewitnesses say a woman tossed the puppies out of a white Jeep near school number 3 in Clifton. This happened over the weekend. They won't really want to find this creep, this jerk. 2 of the puppies taken to the Clifton Animal Shelter, and a woman gave the third to her son in Garfield. None of the dogs, thankfully, were injured, but anybody with information on this is asked to call the Animal Shelter of Clifton. All right, 5:45. Let's do a little sports. Justin Ellick has got the morning off, but here's Rhonda Moss with a Sports Minute.
Let's start in the NBA. Cooper Flagg, 33 points, 9 boards, 9 dimes, helped the Mavericks clip the Nuggets 131-130. Spurs crushed the Thunder 130-110 to win their 7th straight. Clippers crushed the Rockets by 20. Kevin Durant led Houston with 22, says they will learn from losses like this.
These losses are going to make us better. They're going to help us grow character, help us continue to figure out what we need to do to be effective as a group. So through the midst of it all, just keep grinding and keep figuring it out.
Dylan Brooks dropped in 25 to help the Suns knock off the Lakers 132-108. Lakers guard Luka Doncic did not play due to a calf injury. Niners tight end George Kittle dealing with an ankle sprain he suffered in the win over the Colts Monday night. Vikings quarterback J.J. McCarthy will not play against the Lions on Christmas Day due to a hairline fracture in his throwing hand. That's sports. I'm Rhonda Moss.
Well, that's not all the sports. The Knicks lost to the Timberwolves last night, 115-104 on the road in Minneapolis. Karl Anthony Towns, he led all scorers with 40 points. Jalen Brunson, he did not play. He's nursing an ankle injury. Knicks back at the Garden tomorrow for a Christmas Day game against the Cavaliers. The Nets are playing great basketball all of a sudden. Took down the 76ers, 114-106 in Philly last night. Michael Porter had 28 points. Brooklyn has won 3 of its last 4. They'll visit Minnesota over the weekend, Saturday night. The Rangers crushed the Capitals 7-3 on the road in D.C. Vincent Trocheck scored a pair of goals. Blue Shirts have won 3 of 4. They'll visit the Islanders on Saturday night. And the Islanders, they edged the Devils out in Elmont 2-1 last night. New Jersey, which has dropped back-to-back games, will host the Capitals on Saturday night. And the Jets shutting down their former starting quarterback, Justin Fields, placed on injured reserve yesterday. He's dealing with some knee soreness. Undrafted rookie Brady Cook, he'll finish the season for gangrene. And that's your sports. 5:47. Let's do a little traffic and transit on the 7. Still have some issues out in Queens. This is on the LIE. An accident's blocking one lane eastbound at exit 23 right there at Main Street. And then it's a story of water main breaks in New Jersey. First one's in Monmouth County on Route 36, Ocean Avenue, southbound, right between Highlands Bridge and Beachway. That's causing some slowdowns. Same goes for West Caldwell. Another water main break, Bloomfield Avenue, both eastbound and westbound between Fairfield Avenue and Passaic Avenue. On the bridges and the tunnels into the big city, GWB upper lower level, no problems there. The Lincoln and Holland inbound outbound, no problem there either. You should be able to sail right into the city. If you're taking the train in on New Jersey Transit, just some alerts to tell you about on the Maine, Bergen County and Northeast corridor lines. On the LIRR, everything is on or close to schedule. Metro North, you do have special schedule today for the Christmas holiday. If you're coming into work but want to leave early, there'll be extra trains so you can do so. And on the subways, there's no scheduled service on the Z and the S lines. All right, WABC News Time, 5:48. A well-respected New York City EMS chief is being lured out of retirement to become Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani's fire commissioner. He's named Lilian Boncierno to head the 17,000-member FDNY and says he couldn't be happy or prouder of his choice.
Her record speaks for itself. 31 years of service. The former FDNY chief of EMS operations. Leadership on the front lines of 9/11 and the COVID pandemic.
Mamdani says he's looking forward to seeing the Bronx-born Bonsignor thriving in her new role. Bonsignor says top priorities will be improving FDNY's response times, pay parity for EMS, and fire prevention education. She says she's humbled to be able to get the gig.
This appointment represents a significant responsibility, one I accept with humility, dedication, and a deep sense of commitment to the city and its people. You need the appropriate number of vehicles. You need staffing. You need people to be able to move in and out of calls.
Now, she won't start until the mayor is inaugurated on January 1. Zoran Mamdani's wife is hinting what she'll do once her husband becomes mayor.
Rama Duwaji tells New York Magazine that she's going to be focused on her career after Zoran, or Z as she calls him, takes office. The 28-year-old isn't thrilled that she's become known as Zoran Mamdani's wife and hints that she'll use her new platform to support undiscovered artists. She didn't give any interviews during her husband's mayoral campaign, but now says at the end of the day, she's not a politician. And as the city's first lady, she's going to use the role in the best way that she can as an artist. Lisa G., 77 WABC News.
It is interesting. You haven't seen a lot of her. You probably wouldn't be able to pick her out of a lineup, but that will end, of course, come January 1. Police looking for a man who slammed a Brooklyn boy's head into a windshield after a snowball was thrown at his minivan.
This happened last Wednesday afternoon near Ocean Parkway and Ditmas Avenue. The driver was so angry he slammed on his brakes, bolted from his minivan, shouted at a 10-year-old kid and his friend, and attacked one of them before taking off. The child treated for pain to his left hand and head, and the NYPD has released a photo showing a balding white man in his late 30s or 40s with dark hair. If you think you know who he is, Crime Stoppers wants to hear about it. James Flippin for 77 WABC News.
Let's go up to the Hudson Valley. Cops looking for a jerk, somebody who wrecked a nativity scene in Nyack, or at least damaged it right before Christmas, prompting an investigation from Orangetown police. For the past 6 years, a nativity scene has stood in Hezekiah Easter Square during the holiday season. The display's plastic case protecting it was damaged. Ed Tengredi is with the Knights of Columbus. He's a member of the parish of St. Paul's and St. Anne's, which owns and maintains this nativity scene. Of course, he's very upset.
There's just so much hate in this world and so much anger, and it's sad when it gets to this that somebody would want to purposely break the front of the crush.
Orangetown police say one of their officers noted the damage on Monday. Authorities now investigating the incident as a possible criminal mischief crime. The incident has sparked strong reactions from members of the Nyack community who say they hate this kind of thing.
Nyack is a great community town, and the fact that this would happen here is just a shame.
Yeah, and Ed Tengredi says he has a message for who's ever responsible for this crime.
Just come forward and talk to us. Maybe you got some problems you need some help with. A bad thing happened, but a good thing is coming from it as the community is coming together over this.
Nyack's mayor releasing a statement yesterday calling the incident an inexcusable act of cowardice. He also praised the outpouring of support for the community for St. Anne's and the Knights of Columbus as people said, hey, let's fix this thing before Christmas. 5:52. Thousands of Long Islanders going to see a pay bump in the new year as the minimum wage increases to $17 an hour. It will increase $17 an hour in Westchester and here in the city as well. Some say it'll help those who who are struggling to afford things right now.
You need to make more money to live here. Every bit at that point makes a difference for them.
Now, Nick DeVito, he was talking to News 12. He's the co-owner of Charlotte's Frozen Yogurt in Farmingdale, and he says he understands why workers want a pay bump, but he says he's a small business owner and he can't afford that pay bump.
We opened here about 12 or 13 years ago. Minimum wage was like $7 and change. We were paying the girls $8.
DeVito says he can't afford to pay junior high and high school kids $17 at his ice cream and coffee shop, so he's doing with less workers, which he says doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Instead of having 3 girls working here on a Friday or Saturday night, I have 1. That's all I can afford.
Yeah, so the minimum wage increase, it takes effect midnight, January 1. 5:54. Have you been out to Diker Heights to see the lights? It's definitely a bucket list thing if you've never done it. And boy, the crowds have just been huge. I mean, they always are. Right along 84th Street, there's all the lights, and then it extends from there. People from all over the world coming to snap pictures in front of homes or buy cups of hot chocolate. There's vendors out on the streets. Lucy Spada, she was the woman who started all this thing. She kind of did this over-the-top Christmas display in front of her house one year. I mean, it goes back 1986. I mean, it was a long time ago she started doing this. And she said then her neighbors followed. And now tour buses come through Diker Heights this time of year because it is pretty great to see.
Diker Heights was not like this. And I started putting up the lights. I just continued and made it bigger and bigger and bigger. And then everybody followed through.
Yeah, so Spada, who goes by Mrs. Claus, says she helped give life to the Christmas magic back in the 80s. Now dozens of homes across several blocks take part in what's become this annual winter tradition. And it is madness there. It almost feels like you're walking in Midtown. That's how many people are walking around the neighborhood.
Incredible. We are from Argentina and we don't have things like this.
It's awesome, and I can barely even see the actual house itself.
Yeah, I mean, that guy came from Argentina to see the lights. This woman's from Missouri. She had heard about Diker Heights, and so she had to put it as a must on her list when she came to New York City.
Nostalgia, childhood, and it's beautiful. It's always beautiful. Each year it gets better and better. Just the feeling of Christmas. It just gets you in the mood. It gets you in the spirit.
And Spada says she began decorating her home around Halloween so it can be ready for Christmas. A nativity scene, if you pass her house this year, will pay tribute to her mother. And large nutcrackers pay homage to her husband who died a number of years ago. And she said she made a promise to him that when he passed away, that she would continue this tradition and not stop lighting up the house. And you have to see her house. I can't even do justice in describing what's in front of it. You can't even see her house. That's how much is in front of it.
My husband died 6 years ago, so now I carry it out for him because he made me promise that I would continue it. The children, the glow in their eyes, it's just a beautiful thing. And we all become kids at Christmas.
Yeah, it won't disappoint. If you've never been, definitely take the kids, whoever you're with, out to Diker Heights. It'll be up, I'm sure, for the next week or so.
Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.